Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Flame Entertainment and Sports. Your boy Rob here. Exciting episode for everyone. Hope you all are doing good out there. Make sure to keep up with us on Instagram and TikTok at the Flame_ES. On today's show, in the entertainment world, we're going to be covering some Broadway news. This is Lea Michele, who's my favorite Broadway star. She's set to make her return to the Broadway stage in the fall, 2 years after her iconic run as Fanny Brice on Funny Girl. She'll be joining the cast of Chess. And then in the sports world, we're going to be giving an update as to how the NBA playoffs have been going. The OKC Thunder currently lead the Minnesota Timberwolves 3-1, and the Indiana Pacers lead the New York Knicks 3-1. With all that said, let's start off this episode in the entertainment world as we cover Lea Michele's big return to the Broadway stage. Alright guys, so let's kick it off in the entertainment world as we cover the big news that came Wednesday morning of Lea Michele as she's set to return to Broadway in Chess 2 years after ending her run in Funny Girl as Fanny Brice. So what I'm going to do here, since this is Wednesday right now when I'm recording and the news came out this morning, there's only so much information that's come out so far about this Broadway show that's set to debut in the fall of 2025. So with that said, I'm going to be reading the press release that was released by Chess the Musical. So here we go. Okay, so it says producers Tom, Jose, Robert, Burns, and the Schubert Organization, along with Creative Partners Productions, are proud to announce that Tony Award winner Aaron Tveit from Moulin Rouge, Emmy Award nominee Lea Michele from Funny Girl, and Nicholas Christopher from Sweeney Todd will lead the first ever Broadway revival of Chess as Freddie Trumper, Florence Vassie, and Anatoly Sergevsky, respectively, in fall 2025 at a Schubert Theater to be announced, featuring a new book by Emmy Award winner Danny Strong from Dope Sick, with music and lyrics by Emmy and Tony Award nominees Abbas, Benny Anderson, and Bjorn Ulvaeus, and Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony Award winner Tim Rice from Evita, and based on an idea by Tim Rice. This new production will be directed by Tony Award winner Michael Mayer from Spring Awakening and choreographed by Drama Desk Award nominee Lauren Lautaro from Waitress, with music supervision by Brian Usifer. Chess will be presented by arrangement with Three Nights, the Schubert Organization, and Robert Fox Ltd. Now to read the little description they have here about Chess. So it says, Chess is the iconic musical where power and passion collide, and the stakes couldn't be higher. It's America versus Russia at the World Chess Championship, where the espionage and romance are as complicated and exhilarating as the game itself. For the two players and the woman torn between them, everything personal, professional, and political is at risk, and nobody's rules are the same. Dates, on sale, and theater information, additional casting and creative team will be announced shortly. So yeah, as I said, the news just broke this morning, so at least I was able to find the press release to kind of give a early description as to what we can expect from the show. Based off of that description and many of the comments on social media, a lot of people are kind of comparing the description to Challengers, which was the movie that came out last year with Zendaya, where there was a love triangle, and it was Zendaya and then and two guys, and basically the guys were best friends, and then one of them ends up being with Zendaya, and it's a whole love triangle. And Zendaya in the movie was a tennis player, so in this one it's kind of like a similar concept where we have one girl in the middle, which is Lea Michele, and then we have the two guys who are vowing for her love. And instead of tennis like in Challengers, this one is Chess, as it's the title of the show itself, Chess. So yeah, I wanted to make sure to cover that on here for those of you that don't know. Like I said in the intro, Lea Michele, she's my favorite Broadway star. I was able to see her twice in Funny Girl, and I'll never forget it. The first time seeing her in person, like on that Broadway stage, was just like incredible. I had been a fan of her from afar for a long time. I've never watched Glee, but I had always kept up with Lea, and I always was a fan of her. But yeah, once I was able to see her in person, perform and sing and do all the great things that she does, it took my love for her as a fan to another level. And, I'm super excited that she's set to return to Broadway in the fall. So hopefully, sometime in September, that's when I'm guessing. And yeah, I'm super excited. And then Aaron Tveit as well, who's going to be starring alongside her. I'm a huge Gossip Girl fan. So for the Gossip Girl fans, Aaron Tveit plays Trip Vanderbilt in a couple episodes of the show, the cousin of Nate, who has an affair with Serena Vanderwoodson, played by Blake Lively. And it's pretty cool. A couple years ago, I got to see Aaron starring in Moulin Rouge, which is probably the Broadway show he's most known for, playing the lead role of Christian. and he did an incredible job, and it was super cool, to see him on there. So I think it's gonna be really cool too that Lea obviously has a huge fan base that from her Glee days, from her early Broadway days, in Spring Awakening, and then most recently from her time in Funny Girl, and then Aaron Tveit, he has a fan base from Gossip Girl, but also a huge fan base from his long career in Broadway. So I feel like those two names specifically, they're obviously gonna bring in a lot of people, and I can't wait to see these two very talented individuals acting alongside one another on the Broadway stage. It's going to be amazing to see. And yeah, I'm super excited. I can't wait to see Lea Michele, God willing, see her in this new role for her in Chess, in the fall. And yeah, just super happy for her. And, congratulations to Lea. She, recently had a baby, and it's really cool that she's already set to return to the Broadway stage. For those of you that don't know, she's currently on a tour right now. So make sure to go check out all the tour dates on her website, leamichele.com. So you can see her, prior to her returning to Broadway in the fall. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap up our entertainment portion for this week. I know it was a quick one, but this episode in general is gonna be kind of short and sweet. Shout out Sabrina Carpenter, but I wasn't planning on doing a long episode this week. I just wanted to make it kind of short and sweet and to the point. With that said, now we're gonna transition into the sports world. We're gonna give a little update as to how the NBA playoffs are going. All right, guys, so now to start off in the sports world. So, as I said, we're going to give a little update as to how each conference final is going right now. So, in the West, we have the OKC Thunder with a 3-1 lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves. And in the East, we have the Indiana Pacers with a 3-1 lead of their own over the New York Knicks. With that said, this episode is out on Thursday. I'm recording it Wednesday right now, May 28th at 5:02 p.m. Eastern Time. Tonight, is the next game of the series between the Timberwolves and Thunder. So ultimately, I don't have the result for you all, but when you're listening to this, I'm sure you all know whether or not the Thunder won the series and advanced to the finals, or Minnesota lived to fight another day. Yeah, just to give some quick thoughts on this series from my perspective, my opinion here. So I came into the series, my prediction was Wolves in 6. I've been very disappointed by the performance, like overall, of the Minnesota Timberwolves. I feel like mentally, they have too many lapses to be considered a serious title contender. I had seen these lapses throughout the season, even throughout the first couple series of the playoffs, but ultimately I felt like they were going to put it together and not have those mental lapses in this big stage, especially since they were in the same position last year and they got dominated by the Dallas Mavericks. But ultimately, this year they haven't really shown a sign of growth. They're kind of back in the same place as they were last year. And, it's sad to see because I feel like Minnesota, they're one of the most talented teams in the league. But ultimately, Anthony Edwards, as a star player, he hasn't really stepped up or took the team or put the team on his back like I expected him to do. I think it was last week where I said I think this guy has he's not just any young player. Like, he has that Kobe Wade type of thing in him. So far, I've been proven wrong in this series. I'm hoping that tonight, or Wednesday night, that he's able to, kind of shut down the narrative and really lead his team as their season's literally on the line. It's do or die for from here on out. As for the Thunder, I've been absolutely impressed. I think their coaching staff has done a great job putting their players in the right position. They've completely outplayed, outcoached, outmatched Minnesota Timberwolves completely. And yeah, ultimately they have a chance now to, secure a ticket into competing for an NBA championship. And then in the East, transition over to that series. So Indiana, they win the first 2 games in New York. And then the Knicks win game 3 and a nice comeback win in Indiana. Then on Tuesday night, the Pacers were able to bounce back or erase those mistakes that they made in game 3. Really, in game 3, what happened, like, Indiana was pretty much up the whole game. And the fourth quarter, they kind of choked it away. The Karl Anthony Towns had a 20-point fourth quarter. It was kind of one of those games that doesn't really happen quite often. But what I'm very much impressed by is that Indiana was able to bounce back in game 4, learn from those mistakes, and ultimately close the deal. In game 4 and take a commanding 3-1 lead as they head now back to Madison Square Garden on Thursday night for a chance to, secure a ticket into the NBA championship or NBA finals. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much our quick little update here for the conference finals. As I said before, in the entertainment world, I wasn't planning on doing a super long episode this week. Just wanted to make it short and sweet. There wasn't that much news to make it such a long episode, but that said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to stay tuned because we will have some updates for you. We're planning on doing a conference finals recap for each series with our boy Jerry that we brought on during the trade deadline. We brought him on, multiple times recently, talking about NBA. And yeah, we want to do a conference finals recap for each series as well as a finals preview. And I think he's the perfect person to bring on. I love hearing his takes, and me and him have been going back and forth throughout this whole playoffs. And it's the most excited we've been watching the playoffs in a very long time. So I know it's gonna be a fun one whenever the time comes. So make sure to stay tuned for that. But yeah, guys, it's gonna wrap up our our talk this week in the sports world. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the short and sweet edition of the Flame Entertainment and Sports. I hope you guys enjoyed our talk on the big news of Lea Michele set to return to the Broadway stage in Chess coming in the fall of 2025. And then I also hope you enjoyed our quick little update on the conference finals, as we have the Oklahoma City Thunder and Indiana Pacers one win away from securing a spot to compete for the NBA championship. So yeah, guys, with all that said, make sure to keep up with us on Instagram and TikTok at the flame_ES. Until next time, everyone, take care.